Good afternoon, I'm Jo Baldwin-Trott, personal stylist and queen of colour. So I'm really excited to be here today with, well, I probably could call you, actually, Steve, the king of colour.
King of colour?
Or
wow.
the king of one certain colour, that's
One
for
colour.
sure.
Yeah.
So Steve, Beckles
Hey.
Ebusua is the speaker with the orange
I
tie.
certainly am.
So Steve has created a whole brand about one colour. So you can imagine how excited I am to meet with Steve again. We met at the Speaking Association.
How long ago was it?
That was nearly 2 years ago.
That's a while ago. Yeah.
And Steve has created a whole brand. He talks about confidence, about message, about truth, your self-truth. And Steve, can you first of all, before we go on to what you do, tell us about the orange story?
The orange story. Well, do you know, it's really funny. Orange is always a colour I've really enjoyed, and I worked in a school for a long time, and I realised the kids, whenever they saw the colour orange, or whether they were creating or drawing, orange was the colour they used. And I remember I set up my own business, and I had like a red tie, not orange at all, and I had to order up a new tie because I was running out of ties. And resolution on my screen, bear this in mind, this might happen to you, was all over the place. So I had to order up a set of ties, and because the resolution was so off, when I actually received the ties, probably 3 or 4 days later, I got a bright orange tie, and this was not anywhere near red. So I was speaking that morning, and I thought, well, one or two things: go without a tie or go with a tie. Now, I wasn't known as a speaker of anything; I was just known as a speaker, and I had to wear a tie. So I put the orange tie on. The rest is history. Everyone just kind of just freaked out and loved the whole concept. And so what I did, I researched into what orange represents. So I always think things need to have a meaning. So I found out the American Indians looked at orange as a colour of learning and growth, and I thought, God, it really represents me. So orange represents a number of factors. It represents energy, which is a great thing for energy, because you think of orange and vitamin C. It reminds me of the elements of motivation and inspiration. So if you look at oranges, it kind of gives you that vibe that something can happen. Yeah, it's a colour which is memorable. I often say with the whole orange thing, you don't ever forget me. And my orange car is just over there.
Lucy,
Lucy,
the orange
yeah,
mini.
orange mini. It's also a colour which inspires individuals. And I think that when you're inspired, it's always got to come from you. And being inspiring is a start of doing something. I don't think you can just do, it's got to come from inside. So those qualities in itself just made me embrace the colour orange. And obviously with it, I use it as a whole kind of marketing thing about what I do and how I do it. And orange for me is leadership. It's a leadership colour. And who's leading you? There's a guy called Jim Cathkill once said that all leadership starts with self-leadership. And so I tie in the whole orange internal driving, inspiring to tie up with what I do, which is inspire, and get people to look at not so much where they are, but where they would like to be. Where would you like to be, and why can't you do it? It's about that belief, which we spoke about a bit earlier on.
Absolutely, and orange is the colour of the sacral chakra, which is where our tummy is basically. So that's our core.
Yeah.
That's our core chakra in our bodies. So it is about the truth,
Yeah,
our self-truth,
and
and
something
our own
else.
story, and our confidence, which is also what.
And you remind me of something else, because when I was in the States, I met a guy, this is the truth, who was a welder. And he said to me, Steve, I love the whole orange thing. He said, do you know, in order to get to a certain heat, in order to bend the metal, it's got to reach orange states. I thought, orange. Yeah. So it's your thinking, doesn't it? Hitting it to that heat, then you can make that move, which again encompasses what I do.
Which is what your message is, because you talk a lot to young people, don't you?
I do, yeah. I do a lot of corporate and young people. The corporate now is kind of really taking a momentum, which I'm enjoying. But I enjoy getting people to realise that everything does start with themselves, but it's what belief you have about yourselves. We said that earlier, didn't we? Belief determines your attitude determines the way you feel. The way you feel then will determine the way you act. And ultimately, is what you gain from life. So I think when you think this is a challenge in your life, and what do you believe about it? And if there's any negativity there, that's why you're not doing it, because of that change. So it's life. I'm enjoying it.
Fantastic.
And it's making sure you make a difference.
So that moment of truth came to you, so the Hatali moment, as you called it earlier.
Absolutely, yeah. Hatayi.
Hatayi,
yeah.
sorry.
Hatayi, yeah.
Hatayi.
Dr. Wayne Dyer talks about it, that changing moment, that when something happens in you that thinks, I need to do something about it. I can't continue this any longer.
It's obviously part of my mission to as a queen of colour and personal branding image expert, is to get my clients to recognise that wearing colour not only it creates more of a brand awareness, obviously, especially when it's a bright colour like orange, but it also creates a level of congruence with who you are.
Absolutely.
And actually being more expressive, because too many people do dress dark colours,
Absolutely.
trying to blend in. We
Yeah.
need to stop blending in. We need to be prepared to wear bright colours and really stand out in the colours we believe in, and have a message for ourselves, which obviously orange does for you. But you did have a moment, didn't you? You had a moment with your work when you just kind of weren't sure about the standing out, even for you, which sounds hard to believe now,
Yeah,
because you're so comfortable in your orange. But you had a train moment, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I remember I was going to work. It wasn't that long ago. I say that long ago. It was maybe a couple of years ago, where I had the orange tie. I don't think I had the shoes at the time, but I had the orange tie on, and I didn't have the bright orange jacket, but I still felt very uncomfortable myself. And I was sitting on the train, and I remember this bright orange tie just shouting out to me, "This is who you are, Steve." And I thought, no, you're not. And I just zipped it up to cover it up because I wasn't comfortable myself. And like we spoke about earlier, when you are comfortable with yourself, it then doesn't matter what people say, because that's who you believe you are. And I think it was that moment I thought, Steve, you're still not ready. So what happened over a period of time, just kept wearing it, bought the shoes, and then all of a sudden it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And then you grow from it, because you're now on a basis that you feel comfortable with, rather than sitting on a basis that you're not comfortable with. And that's where things always fall apart, because your base is just so weak.
Yeah, because colour attracts attention, and
It
obviously
does.
I know, because I dress like crazy colours
This
all the
whole
time.
red thing
I
going
got the
on
red
there.
thing
Just
going
love
on
this
since
girl.
red January.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, it does attract attention, so you get lots of conversations wherever you go. But that's brought you business, hasn't it?
It has, and I've been very fortunate to be in situations where people have commented about my orange and why the orange, and it's gone on to then have a conversation. And then had one client actually asked for me to then just do an event for them around leadership. Because of that
Fantastic.
conversation.
It's amazing. Steve Beckles Ebusua,
Thank you.
the speaker with the orange tie. He really gets my vote, and I hope this has helped you on your afternoon and given you some food for thought. Joe Winthrop.